I don't understand.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome very much to Conversations. We've got a program by Skype with our dear friend and a friend of public access and a friend of the world, that being Dave Channon. He's up in the city of Kerhonkson, up in the
Talk to the
general.
hand, Harold.
Huh?
Harold, talk to the hand. Listen, that's
Oh, I'm
Shantik
talking.
talking about
Oh, yeah,
Shantik.
okay. Switch to him, honey. Switch to him, okay? Ah, there you go. There he is, his
Now you can
nodding self.
see, right.
He's up in Kerhonkson, very near
Not
Woodstock.
Kerhonkson, Harold.
And
Shandaken.
Shandanken, you're right. Where's
So
Kerhonkson?
it's so, and there's only one N in Shandaken. It's only because a lot of people say Shandaken. I wouldn't have brought it up or even feel the need to, mention it.
By all means, yes.
But it seems like people do. Karen's brother in L.A. He sticks an N in there. No, Shandaken is one of the biggest towns in New York State.
Really?
Literally
I didn't
large
know that, yeah.
in size, but we have a population density of like North Dakota.
Mhm.
It's like I think it's like 3 people per square mile or something.
Wow, that's really
Very,
good.
very, very, very small, but about 10 bears per square mile.
Ah,
So
yes, right. Well, that's good. Well, anyway, David's been around. So, David, it's so good to see you on Skype.
Well, it's good
all
to not
best
see
wishes
you.
to
I mean,
Karen
can't
and
wait.
everything. And that is near the Woodstock area. That would be some people
Yeah,
would be able
it's
to.
part of the
take it.
diaspora.
So, David, why don't you're an artist extraordinaire in my book, and we're going to be showing some of the background that you have there and so for some of your art. But why don't you just real briefly, we've known each other for about 25 years or something, I think. And
Is this going to be a yes or no question?
no, share
Good.
your background. Where were you born and raised in that? And then let's get talking about the
I
human
got
condition.
born. I got born in New York City. Actually, if you consider Flushing, Queens, part of New York City.
Sure.
I guess Queens General Hospital. I popped out really fast, my mom said that I popped out like a football. I just shot right out.
Wow, really?
It was easy. So I was eager. I've always been kind of a little bit, Speedy Gonzalez type of
You
guy.
always have been to me, yeah, because I'm lazy and you're really
much slower.
go, yeah.
I've gotten so slow now. It's pathetic. I mean, it takes me like half an hour to get to the end of the driveway.
Yeah, well, okay,
You know.
that's a short driveway. I know. I've been there.
Well, it's only like 10 feet long.
Yeah,
but still.
right, right. Yeah. But anyway, so you were in New York and you were involved. We were on the board together, weren't we, for
That's
Manhattan
true.
Neighborhood
6
Network
years.
when Alex Quinn was our director and everything?
I'm so proud of the things we accomplished during that 6 years I was on the board. We did great stuff, and people are still enjoying it. The studio,
Yeah.
coming independent, developing a bit better treatment from Time Warner.
Uh-huh.
Improved a lot of contract terms and stuff. It was good, and for me, I had a great time with my Volcanic Video TV show, which was enormously popular.
And you had been involved with video before that. Because you had these, remember we had a big exhibit or an event in a tunnel somewhere downtown?
You know,
like a old subway tunnel or something?
You're right.
doing
I
artwork there.
I had picked up a video camera, and I started doing like an auto documentarian, like a memoir of my exploits of the Coney Island Mermaid Parade and
Yeah.
other. I went to this crazy underground video lab in Staten Island where the guy. This was a long time ago. This was like before anything, and he had the green screen and he had all this stuff and making crazy stuff. And then I think Manny Cavaco. I think it was Manny Cavaco.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Dave, get a public access show, man. Don't wait. Just start doing it right away." So I
And
did.
it was there going then. That was on 23rd Street?
Yeah. I was back in the Jim Claddock days.
Jim
with
Claddock,
light bulbs to
yeah,
the
at
size of
Claddock
basketball.
Studio, Metro Studios, yeah.
Like a 500 degrees, heat lamp shining on your head the whole time. That's how I
going-
got my white hair from
But
Jim
what about
Claddock's light.
before that? You're an artist, right?
Yeah.
And this is
Shouting.
kind of a strange thing to be having you blacked out. Let me see if I can move. If I
No.
can move a little
It
bit. I
seems
can't
right.
see. No, I think it's a little tricky me talking over you. But you had been an artist before you were involved in video or anything. I think you've
I
been an
started
artist
out
all along.
at about probably when I was about 4 years old. I was already a very accomplished poet at that time.
No.
I wasn't really a visual artist. I was more of a poet, but I had the bent for like babbling on and just inventing.
I'm
inventing
tempted to
stuff.
say, and you
I have
never
a very
stop.
dim
You never
memory
stop.
of
Still
standing on the
babbling
dining
like a
room
brook.
table, and my mom was sitting at the chair smoking cigarettes, and she was looking at me, and I was walking back and forth across the table like Napoleon,
Yeah, that's right.
telling a big story about something. Like I was already on the stage.
Yeah.
So it was like Hamlet. It was like, alas, poor Yorick. I played stickball with him the other day.
Yes.
Things like that. Can you see my friend here?
We no longer can we play. Yes, right. That's good. What is that? Something you fashioned? You just did that recently, or what?
It's kind of like a metal origami. Here, you can.
Yeah, it looks
can
like
take a
something out of a
close-up.
science fiction movie.
Well, it's the head of the Statue of Liberty. I'm working on a Statue
Oh,
of
I
Liberty.
see. Yeah. Okay.
It's my
Okay.
major push for the.
Yeah,
for the
you work in metal too. I've seen it, and we got some graphics and stuff we want to show. You've given us
Of
some
course.
graphics that we want to show.
Don't rush it. Don't rush it.
Okay,
Make them
good.
beg for it. Make them want it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, but you're a real all-time great, and you've moved to Shandanken, or
Yes.
yeah, Shandanken, and I
It's
know,
not
I know,
dank
I'm
here.
trying to get it so we
It's
can have
not
a look at
dank.
both.
Shandanken is not dank. It's dake.
Shandaken.
Hard
is
to
it,
say.
Dutch?
It's an
Is that
Indian
a-
name. It either means very fast water,
Very
Which
fast one.
makes
Shandanken.
sense, streams,
Yeah.
or gigantic dark hemlock forest that makes pitch black at noon
Boy,
underneath.
that's a lot to stuff into one name. That's a
The
lot.
Indians had a very
What
they
is that,
didn't
German?
waste
Is that
letters.
German name? Is that a German name, or what? Or Dutch?
name
Dutch
maybe
maybe.
from the Indian people that lived
Our,
there.
our editor who's here doing Roseanne, Josiane
Yes.
Hurd is from Europe. From what country, Josiane?
France.
She was from France.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
and
great. I love
she's one of
France.
the gang here, and she's really picking it all up and everything like that.
I
Still,
love
a lot of the
France.
old gang is here and everything. You talked to Nat Wood quick on the telephone.
That was good. That was
Yeah,
good.
That was good. Yeah, but I.
But I can go back to let me go back to my origins as long as you got me on the.
Yeah,
you
go
see
ahead.
my
Yeah, that's a
face
good-
when I'm talking?
Yeah.
Can you
Okay.
see? Am I looking expressive enough for the audience to try to appreciate?
No, you're looking great. Yeah.
I started becoming like a drawing a lot in school. I remember in third grade, the teacher, actually first grade and second grade and third grade, the teacher would break my pencils because I was always doodling instead of taking notes when I was in class. I was always doodling all the time. So they would
Tish.
break
Yeah.
my pencils over and over again, and that by the third grade they realized I was incorrigible, so they would say
Incorrigible. Yeah.
incorrigible Dave.
I know the term. I know the feeling. Yeah.
Anyway, I would finish my little assignment, whatever. The rest of the class is struggling away, chewing on their pencils, which is
Yeah.
not healthy because
Yeah.
it probably had lead paint.
Yeah.
And that's why they were struggling and they couldn't answer the questions. So if I finished the test early, they would send me to the next room and go doodle in the other room. So I wouldn't distract, because in addition to being somebody who drew a lot, I was also a guy who told like cracked up jokes in class. So
Show off. You were another one of those classroom show offs and hard.
class clown.
Yeah, clown. Right.
Class
Clowns to the left of us. What is it? Did you see the thing on Saturday Night Live the other day?
I don't get TV. I'm in
Oh,
Shandaken.
you don't have. You've cut the umbilical, huh?
I haven't watched it really. I've seen programs now and then because I have the high-speed internet, which in Shandaken, by the way, is extremely fast because there's only 9 people on the whole line.
9 people and 17 bears, huh?
The Bears don't use the internet. They haven't caught on
No,
yet.
they haven't caught on yet.
Trouble.
Hide the honey, brother. Hide the honey, okay? Yeah.
Well, in any case, I did continue to get more, into the visual arts, and I also continued writing a lot of poems too.
Yeah.
If I could recite a poem, one of my early poems.
You want to do that now?
I think
Do you
this
want a
medium
drum
is
roll?
kind
Do you
of
want me
ideal.
to give you a drum roll?
Ti-
Go!
Title of the poem is I love to touch. They're just too much. Them feet. By by I had a nom de plume, T.O. Sweat. It's my nom de plume. And I'll go right into the poem.
Okay.
Unlike the sacred bosom's tip, whose effort is the child to please, feet are free from kitty drip, and the sapling's germy sneeze. Unlike the mouth with words obscene,
Yes.
the foot is virgin, pure, and true, because it's constantly kept clean in sanitary sock and shoe. Unlike other modes of sex, feet have nothing in common with Oedipus Rex. Their swerves and curves are like hors d'oeuvres, from tasty start to finish, while all the rest, at utmost best, are more akin to spinach, and looked upon as but an organ. The foot is simple and complete. So given any choice or bargain, I choose you, oh lovely feet. See, I like poetry. I do.
And
song
what was your age when you came forth with that?
I was probably in high school. I was in high school when I
15, 13, 16.
that age, that 16 maybe.
Yeah.
I kind of advanced already. I was not a, whatever. But I did have an experience in high school that was interesting. We didn't attend the prom. We went to an alternate prom under the Unisphere in Flushing Meadow at the World Fair Center.
That's where you were living, out in Queens?
Yeah, in Flushing, Queens, right?
Flushing, yeah,
and so we went out, instead of going to if I had gone to my graduation at John Bowne High School, they would have announced my name. Best artist of John Bowne High School, Dave Channon.
Wow.
And there was a lot of stiff competition. There was a lot of good artists in that school.
So you are an artist.
So my teacher in high school said, Dave, would you like a part-time job working for this sculptor that lives in the area? His name is Joseph Cornell. So I said, does it pay? Is it good? And she says, whatever, $10 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
But he lives on Northern Boulevard, which wasn't too far from me. So I went over there and I met Joseph Cornell, and I had no idea who he was or that he was famous or anything. And this is probably, I would guess, about 2 years before he died. This is maybe like in 1968, maybe? I think it was in 68. Anyway, he says, you were sitting on the porch on a sofa, and he's very old and frail. He says, oh, you don't know my artwork? I said, no. So he pulls like this dusty, like thick, old, like leather-bound art history textbook off the shelf. It's like dust, opens up the page, and there's a picture of one of his sculptures, in the book, in this textbook. And he said, that's mine. And then he reaches under the sofa, and he pulls out one of his little box. It was like a rectangle about that size, with the top.
Right.
He handed it to me, and it was the same damn thing that was in the
picture,
in the textbook.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, so this guy is. It dawned on me immediately that he's not just any old ordinary person, but that he's somebody important. And so I encouraged him, to try to do artwork. I said, let's do some artwork. And he says, oh, I'm retired now. I don't. Come on, let's go down to the basement. Let's do some artwork. Come on, Joe. So he agreed. We went down to the basement, and there's all the shoe boxes with the little clay pipes and the marbles and the, all the different, pictures of the universe and stuff.
Right.
And so he says, okay, what should we do? What should we do? So he hands me a compass and a piece of like masonite that was painted sort of white with like house paint on it, kind of rough. And he says, here, make a circle. So I pick up the compass and I started like turning it like slowly. And he says, not like that, like this. And he goes, boom, and he spins the compass and scratches a circle into the paint. That's how you do it. So I failed the first test. He was not impressed. So then he says, pulls out a jar of like red ink. Not red ink, it was yellow ink, actually. Yellow ink. And he pours it on the circle. And he shows it to me. And he says, okay, what is it? So I go, let me think. He goes, it's the sun. It's the sun. And I knew that, like, he must have thought that I was, like, pretty dense to not get these very, very obvious things. But still, you know, we had a few moments together that were interesting, and you know, I think back on it and, you know, wonder if, like, maybe that was an inspiration. It did inspire me to make collages that were reminiscent of his somewhat.
Really? Yeah, you make beautiful collages. I don't know if we can bring some up. Can we? Do
I
you
could
think we
probably
could bring
go
up any?
grab one, you know,
Do,
the other.
do,
But
Rosalind, can we? Do we have a way of bringing up images of his?
He has to bring it now. I think,
He has to bring them up. You have
okay, I'll bring it up. I'll bring up some pictures.
to. Okay.
But,
Okay. Good. You can do that. Good.
Anyway, so
Okay.
you know, so yeah, and then, you know, I continued. I went to the Art Students League. That was the
Yeah.
next thing I did. I went to the Art
That's up on
Students League,
57, isn't it?
and on 57th Street,
Yeah,
and I
right.
loved the smell of the kneaded eraser. It was like intoxicating me. And I used to eat those Zero bars, which was like a big Snicker bar, but it was white. It was like a white chocolate Snicker bar with almonds in it, with nougat, white
Oh God,
white
yeah.
bars. And I went to my first drawing class, and then I saw this woman taking off her clothes,
Mm.
and I thought,
Wow.
this is for me.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
the
Right.
this is the kind of career I really want to have, where women just like take off their clothes, no big deal, and everybody's cool. You know, it's not like weird or
Yeah.
anything.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
like 42nd Street, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like just you just admire this
The
incredible
form, the
piece
physical
of
form.
living
Yeah.
sculpture,
Yeah,
you know.
Right. Right.
And I did get into it a lot. I took a class with Robert Beverly Hale, who some people may know. He was
don't
very
know.
old at the time.
Yeah.
He taught anatomy.
Uh-huh.
And he was also inspirational to me. He constantly would remind us that human beings are different from the apes, and it's not because we have opposable thumbs. Because apes, even raccoons, have opposable thumbs. You know,
I didn't realize. Yeah. Okay. Go on. Yeah. Yeah.
it's because of our very large, well-developed buttocks.
Really. That's
It's
what makes
our
us unique.
buttocks. You look at an ape, the butt is very scrawny.
Is
And
that
it's
true?
a
I
result,
never
they're always
noticed.
like, they're hunched over because it's the butt muscle in back here, this large gluteus maximus.
The
it's
gluteus
responsible-
maximus. Oh,
Yeah, it's responsible
oh,
for
gluteus
enabling
maximus.
us,
Uh,
gluteus maximus,
yeah.
enabling us to stand upright. You know, it's that very large, very well-developed muscle.
Yeah. Right.
And that's I think he was being slightly facetious, but I think he really meant it. He says large brains, whales have much bigger brains than people. We don't know what they think. They may be very smart, smarter than people. I think they probably are.
Mm.
You know, a raccoon's smart because they can learn how to open your garbage can and make a giant mess. Is
They
that's
do. Yeah.
they just fiendishly clever.
And do they also wash out things in a river? Do they do that? That's from the fairy tales. They'll take a
I
piece
don't
of
think they're washing it. I think
carrion or something and wash it off in a river.
what they're doing is they're moistening it to make it easier to chew and swallow. I think that's what
Functional
they're
to the end. Okay, yeah, functional.
I think that's what they're
yeah.
doing, because I've heard that, you know, because you know, animals and dirt are, you know, they're more intimate with the dirt.
Yeah, right.
But you know, like you look at a black bear and the
You,
things
you have
shiny,
a lot of black bear up there.
but they're shiny, shiny clean. You look at me, my clothes are all dusty, and I've got like soot on my hands from all the fireplace and everything. But you look at the bear, it looks like he's just
Pristine,
shined
yeah.
up with the Simonized shine. The guy looks clean,
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
shiny.
It's true. Yeah.
It's like he's
true.
been to the car wash.
Yeah.
My car is terrible. The bear is shiny.
Hmm. That's
But,
true.
anyway, everything is good in Shandaken. I for many years I went into video production, and I enjoyed doing it a lot, and I kind of put the painting on the back burner. You know, by the early '80s, I really wasn't painting that much anymore. So a lot of the paintings you're going to see now are paintings from earlier paintings.
Yeah, and that phase, you and Karen, you were up in Englewood, right? Remember, you were in Englewood, or not Englewood? What's that section of town
Englewood.
way up at the end of the
You
one
lived in-
line? What's that section where they got all the forest and everything practically?
Yeah. Inwood. It's
Inwood, that's it, Inwood. You were there, and we had those baseball games we'd play up there.
lovely, lovely.
And I always had a sense that you and Karen both were really aching to get out of the maddened crowd of the city and get back to a natural. Seems to me like you found a naturally I've been there where you are. It's a naturally gorgeous. Liaison with nature. Yeah.
Well, no place is really perfect, and I could take the opportunity to tell you more of the dark side of Shandaken. I've been here 16 years.
Yeah, that long.
And I've had a chance to know it kind of better than. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place. You know what I'm drinking here?
No, it doesn't. It looks like something I don't want to say.
Looks like iced coffee, but it's actually chaga.
What
You know
the
what I mean?
hell is chaga? What have you come up with now?
I didn't invent it. It's
You're
an
always
ancient.
coming up with some nonsense thing new. Yeah. You're
Try
not
to-
satisfied with good old Maxwell House,
In Russia,
Yeah.
they have those big shiny samovars, where they make the
Yeah.
big urns full of
Yeah.
whatever they have, tea or whatever they're making.
Yeah.
They put a piece of chaga in there, and they just leave it in there. And chaga is actually a very hard fungus that grows on birch trees.
Really?
It's black,
Wow.
and when you put it in water, it turns the water black, like black as black coffee.
Really?
And I like it. I mean, I just started drinking
Does
this
it have a
chaga.
taste or anything, or does it give any
No.
taste?
It's the funniest thing. It has a very, very slight flavor. Not anything you could really describe. But when you drink it, it just feels good. It feels right. Like, you know how when you drink a Coca-Cola right out of the bottle and it's burning your mouth and it's too sweet and it's making you gag up great burps and everything, but it feels right somehow. It's something about it is satisfying you.
Yeah.
Fundamental level, basic level. So that sugar and caffeine
Yeah.
surging.
Sugar. Yes.
Yeah, but it's something about that flavor, that cola nut flavor, which is different. It's got a different flavor.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I'm rambling, but I'm drinking chaga
No,
because
it's all interesting. It's interesting stuff. So you found a place that's really good for you and Karen both.
well, it's lovely because I came here. When I came here, I really hadn't been active in the gallery scene. I did actually have a really
couple
nice.
of installations and things.
I had some things. You know what I had that there was an interesting time on Lower Broadway? There was a gallery called Gallery Stendhal.
Yeah,
This
I
lady,
remember.
Harry Wahab
Yeah.
had a gallery. He's got a high-tone gallery in Tribeca now that's much, much more expensive. But we used to have great, like, Ron English was there, and the art fucks from Jersey City were there, and a lot of great Mike Cockrell was always coming to the openings there, and all kinds of really interesting, crazy people, and so I was kind of a little bit active showing my artwork then. But when I moved up here to Phoenicia, I became acquainted with the Arts Upstairs Gallery in Phoenicia.
Yeah.
And it was like a Satori-like moment. I realized I could show my artwork here and nobody has to tell me no.
Right.
I don't have to fight and play games and bend over and do anything. I could just show my artwork here. And then
you got a lot of artists up there. You got a lot of real good artists up in that part of the world. Yeah. To have camaraderie with. Yeah.
So anyway, as a result of the inspiration of being at the Arts Upstairs, I started painting again. I created a whole new series of interesting paintings. I'm going to take one out just to show
by
you.
all means, you're going to take them out, or you have them on
Take it out now.
tape, don't you?
Yeah, I got
take-
one to show you
You
this.
go ahead and put it up.
So the painting that you're looking at now is this
that's your background. Yeah.
this one I was living on 26th Street in a loft, like right next to the FIT. That was really nice. Now let's see. Oh, here we go. Coming in for a
It
landing.
looks like a bug.
It's a giant bug. I don't know. You can probably sort of see it.
Yeah, I can
me
see.
see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make this look more professional, but this is. You know what? I'm going to do this slightly differently. I'm going to bring the painting back here. and maybe you'll be able to see it in its entirety more easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. You can just do it now. You got to bring your camera down a bit. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
to
yeah.
get
I'm
it
just
all.
gonna hold it up,
framed
like
and
you can
everything.
see. Well,
Yeah.
basically, this is a Asian longhorn beetle, which is a
Longhorn
pest.
beetle.
Look at those antennae.
Yeah. Look at
Incredible.
that.
You know what I mean?
Is that a painting or a photograph? Is that a?
Well, it's a painting. It's an oil painting of the Asian longhorn beetle, superimposed from sort of a God's eye perspective over a highway interchange cloverleaf somewhere in Southern California.
Yeah, right.
And this bug is a truly frightening pest.
Really?
Yes, it will kill millions and millions of trees in our area. It can eat pretty much any kind of tree, and it's not fussy. So the outbreak is, probably enhanced by global trade out of control with species jumping around. Also, climate change is making their territory more expansive, larger territory kind of thing. So I made some paintings, but as bad as the longhorn beetle might be, let me point to the beetle here.
Yeah, right.
As bad as this beetle might be, it's nothing compared to people. I mean, let's get real. People are far more destructive than any beetle could possibly be, no matter how many trees he killed. People killed a lot more trees than this beetle. It's just we don't like him because he's killing our trees that we want to
harvest. Yeah,
we want to kill him. He's killing them. So that's the irony, the subtle, not so subtle irony of the juxtaposition of the highway. You see some little signs of tiny little evidence of bushes here and there.
Yeah,
it's not completely gone, but it'll come back again. It's coming back. I know it. But one more. I don't want to dwell too much on that, but you know what? Maybe I ought to bring this out because it's really quite a spectacular painting. You can still hear me. That's impressive.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah,
very impressive.
And you just got a webcam going, huh? Yeah.
Well, it's the top of the. This is the top of
the screen, yeah.
Screen, a little. Anyway, so here's another. This is another beetle, and it's
these anatomically correct?
This is what it really, really looks like, except it's probably about maybe as big as the tip of my thumb. It's not.
Right. And what's the background? What's the background? There's some urban setting or some.
This
military,
is a fracking site. This is a drill
site. Okay.
And over here, you could see the waste pond where the fracking wastewater is gushing out into the pond. And it's spraying over the edge. I don't know if you can actually see that part. If I kind of lift it up, it's spraying over the edge, and the bug came along just at the right minute to nudge the hose back over, so that it would go all into the pond and not leak into the environment. So that's what the bug is. But this bug is not dangerous. It's not an invasive species. It's a very. In Indonesia, people keep these bugs as pets. They
really
love them, and of course they're iridescent and beautiful. And if your whole living space is like 8 feet by 10 feet, you don't have a Saint Bernard for a pet.
Yeah, that's true.
You have bugs for a pet.
Mm-hmm.
But there may be something else to it. The fact that this is a male that has this greatly exaggerated kind of horn antler-like thing, It really looked like this. I didn't make this up. The males will battle each other and lock antlers. When two males meet each other, they'll try to see who's tougher. So in Indonesia, I think I don't know if they actually.
That often happens, yeah.
I don't know if they actually fight these things and bet on it as like one bug. I don't think the bugs actually will kill each other, though. They'll just kind of go through this gladiator thing, and it's very entertaining. And then one bug usually backs off right away. They don't kill each other. They're not like.
Have you studied bugs?
Only a little bit. I became interested in bugs because of when the gypsy moth caterpillar was infesting our area, and I became obsessed with it. And that's when because we had for like 3 years in a row, the forests were like wiped out. All the green.
Yeah, no, they can be. Yeah, right. As I understand, I don't know much about them, but
it was the gypsy moth caterpillar, it was the forest caterpillar, and it was the tent caterpillar. All three had this like 17-year cyclical spike at the same time.
Right.
And it was all over the place, all over the whole Northeast and everywhere. So that was when I first started to think about it, but it's really more, I'm just using it as just between you and me, Harold.
Yeah, okay,
And,
good.
and everyone out there in the listening audience.
And the Skype world, yeah.
I just like the way the bug looks. It looks really cool. It doesn't
you seem to have been taken with beetles.
Yeah, I just think that, if you're gonna paint something, you paint. I just feel like what I want to do is try to paint something that's really like as beautiful as it could be.
I know
So
a band of
consider
young.
it beautiful.
I know a band playing of music coming out of England called the Beatles that you might take to.
I like the Beatles.
They're called the Beatles. Yes.
They're great.
How the hell did they get called the Beatles by any chance? I don't know. How did they get called the Ringo and all that? I don't know.
You know what it is? It's a very clever joke. Maybe it was John. We'll bring up another painting while I tell you the story.
Okay. And are we going to see any of the sculpture?
Well, I'm not gonna be able to take into the shed because
but don't we have
sculpture's out of control. But here, let me show you another piece of this.
Josie, don't we have stuff on the computer we could bring up?
Probably not.
We have them on a thumb drive. Could they?
Got some stuff on the thumb drive, but I just want to point out. I just wanted to remind you that I'm working on the Statue of Liberty.
Oh.
I mentioned that. Did I mention that earlier in the show? Or no, that was.
I don't remember, but okay.
So I'm actually in the process now of building a Statue of Liberty, and it's going to be pretty tall. It's going to be about probably 17 feet to the top of the torch.
Yeah, that's pretty high, yeah.
So this is just to kind of give you an idea with the torch, the hand and the torch, it's bigger than human size, but it's not like the Colossus of Rhodes or anything, but it's not like the actual Statue of Liberty, which is very, very large.
Yes, it is, yes. Yeah.
But this is big for me, and it's too big for me to actually erect it in the shed because the roof of the shed is so. Do you notice that that making up part of the structure of the arm is a scythe?
I can't. So we got the lighting here makes it a little hard for me to see it clear, but yeah.
It's a scythe blade, and you can get. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like this is what I'm dealing with. This kind of thing. It's this is just a taste of the sculptures and you saw the head. The head I brought out a little bit a moment ago. This is the head of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's pretty good. It's in work in progress.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have the hair on yet, so you get to see the bald head and some of the internal structure.
Where do you get the materials and everything?
This used to be a tin watering can.
Uh-huh.
Did a little bit of origami with it, and I added a couple of other pieces to it. And I think it's a reasonably close, a little bit bizarro, reasonably close likeness of the statue.
Yeah. No, it's and you got to have a little less artistic leeway there, to have things functional. I mean representational. Yeah.
I that's what I think, but I also think that a lot of there's a lot of really great artwork that's being made, but it's a lot of times artwork it's just the rap is better than the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you think that's true of most human endeavor? Do you think that's true of human endeavor in general? The rap is better than the thing itself, or is it art particularly?
I think that there is a certain aspect of modern art where where it doesn't feel like it has to follow any of the conventions of historical, conventions of art. The
But
skill,
does the
the
same thing
skill of
apply to
being.
politics?
Because you imagine
You
how
know, you
hard
got
it is
you got Mr.
to
Trump.
cut a marble statue like David.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh well,
that's
another.
like
That's a whole
that's
nother
like
thing.
how
Yeah.
could they do that? It was like
Yeah.
it's mind-boggling that.
No, I know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
You compare it to people that make a big mess on the canvas, and I'm not opposed to abstract art. I love some of de Kooning's work. I think is genius,
Yeah.
but a lot of his stuff is like it's not appealing to me. It's like splat, 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 splat. Give me a break.
Well, yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you didn't ask me that. You asked me something else.
Well, no, I just said, does that principle apply to art? But does it
Does it
apply
apply
to the
to music?
human
What about-
condition?
how-
No, to
how-
let's say engineering or politics.
Well, I think engineering it's
Its
like
rap
best
is
of times
bigger
and the
than
worst
its
of
punch
times.
or something. What was it? What was the term you said? Its rap was bigger than. What was the term? You're talking about art, and you're saying the
The
rap.
object, is not, there's
Rap.
nothing intrinsic in the object. It's all the wrap.
The
But-
rap. The art talk.
The
Or
art
the
talk. Yeah.
describe of what it means and the
rap, it
symbolism
means
as
that
it's being
this artwork
interpreted
is
by
worth-
some shrink major or something like that. Or no. What
Or-
I'm saying is, do you think that applies to the political discourse with our politician leaders
I
and
think
their rap?
generated. We really have degenerated a lot, and it could be a combination of certain kind of synthetic and heavy metals in our diet, and I just don't think we're as clear as we used to be. We're getting pretty fuzzy there. But
Do you think maybe that's because we're getting older, David? Maybe
well,
we
I
were
definitely
sharper when you were strong.
I look around. I look at the Republicans.
I want some film
States.
of you being Mussolini dancing across or strutting across your mother's dinner table.
I think I said Napoleon. Mussolini is good. Napoleon's a short guy,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but in any case,
So
no,
how's Karen? Let me just ask you, how's Karen?
Karen is doing
Karen's
quite.
still making wonderful things coming out of the oven and everything up there. You can make a tort or a cake or something, and it just seems to be, more real when you're out in the country like that.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. No, I do
Yeah.
most of the cooking. Karen, you know how Karen cooks? She finds a recipe in a book like Moosewood or something, and she opens it up to the page and she says, "Here, do it," and then I do it. That's how she cooks.
She finds the recipe and then has you prepare it.
Yeah.
She's the artist, the inspiration, and you're the schlep.
She's the muse. And
Schleppy
it's true,
chef.
If it
Yeah.
wasn't for Karen's influence, she's a very good influence on me.
Do you have a wood-burning stove that you bake
Yeah, we
things
do.
in?
Do.
You bake things in a wood-burning stove like a frontiersman? Like you're gonna bake a cake or a roast or something?
No,
Do you put
no,
wood
it's
in
not
there?
really. It's not really a design that's conducive to cooking. Sometimes when I get into one of our butternut squash, we're like, about 12 of these butternut squashes
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
in the cold cabinet down there. I get all the
Cold.
seeds out and I put them on top of the wood stove and they go pop 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 and then you eat them. That's good. That's about all I do with the wood stuff. Or I warm up my chaga.
I used to have a friend. He became a brain surgeon and everything. But his grandmother, we used to visit up in Ontario.
Oh,
She was
nice.
an older woman, and we were young or college students or something. And she was of a British extraction, okay?
Uh-huh.
And she made Yorkshire pudding.
What does that contain?
Well, Yorkshire pudding is a thing. The British have terrible cuisine. I'm British. They have terrible cuisine. Oh wow! Look at the monkey. Wow, that's really.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a
Speaking of
Franken
cuisine, yeah,
potato.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a
And-
potato.
A Franken potato.
Franken potato. What is a sort of a
Frankenstein potato.
Yeah, GMO, right?
It's the potato that has the
genetically modified, right?
genetically modified. And this is a genetically modified salmon, a super salmon.
Yeah.
tell he's got very big musculature, bigger than a typical salmon.
Uh-huh.
And the butter has RBGH in it, so it's dripping those chemicals into you and warping your whole
brain. The
well,
brain
it's your growth regulating hormone. So that's probably one of the major reasons why we have so much obesity in America, and especially with children, is they're eating this stuff that they put.
That's a funny painting. Now I can see it better with the light. That's a fish. Yeah,
And you
that's
see it
right.
better? Yeah, that's super
With
salmon.
Superman
And this is a corn
That's funny.
over here.
Uh-huh.
That some of the kernels are actually becoming little pharmaceutical pills and tablets and capsules and things. But it's also
What is
mixed.
that? That's a lizard or something?
That's some lizard DNA blended into the corn cob. So that's how that goes. And what else is in here?
I see you're a big
Especially
fan.
designed fork.
Yeah.
It's a hypodermic injectable
Yeah.
fork. It can inject more chemicals if it's not spicy enough at the moment. You know.
I see you and Karen are all ready to be hired out by the genetically modified political action committee for all the political modification, right?
Well, Karen.
I'm making a joke, pal.
That's right. But and as usual, the most truest things are said in jest sometimes.
Yes. Well, yeah,
So
there's
Karen-
something to be said for that. Yeah.
Karen spent many, many, many years as a journalist, and
Yeah.
one of the subjects that she was very paid a lot of attention to is genetic engineered
Yeah.
in the food supply, and also pesticide contamination in the
Yeah.
food supply, and other types of pollution and how it affects public health. And
Right, but Karen's been really always strong on that.
yes, and also nuclear radiation and how that affects health. These are some of the issues that she wrote most extensively
So
on.
you're like an environmentalist artist, right?
So
You're
this
an
is kind of
environmentalist.
partly as a result of, I did this painting. It was an illustration to illustrate an article in Mother Earth News magazine.
Yeah, I know. I remember Mother
And it was
Earth, yeah.
because of Karen writing for that magazine that introduced me, and then so it was good. So that was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, but I hope I don't cause I don't have any damage here. It's a very sharp metal object.
Funny.
That's a bad thing. But nevertheless,
You're funny. You could do shtick in clubs, brother. All you have to do
I
is be
could just-
you. All you have to do is be you with those turtles or something, and you'd get all kinds of laughs.
keep it up, because I know we only have a limited amount of time.
Yeah,
But
that's you still got a good sense of humor, I can see. Yeah. and
put
it's
this up. Well, I
manifesting.
tell you a little bit about.
Oh, here's a mastodon, huh?
Yeah, well, this is a
They're
painting
now giving us a lot of methane, I think, up in
representing-
Siberia as they melt. Yeah.
diminishing glacier, the melting glacier,
Yeah. Right.
and the dinosaur, the woolly mammoth,
Yeah.
bison, whatever extinction. But Karen is actually embarking on a very new episode in her life now, which is she has become an energy healer, and she's gotten certified in four different kinds of techniques. Right now she's a second level Reiki. She just started learning Reiki.
Yeah, right. Nita Renfrew, you need Nita. She does Reiki serious, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're really good at Reiki, it can do some amazing things.
That's what I understand, yeah.
It can even fix things that haven't happened yet in the future. It can fix things in the
that's
past.
getting into another
It can
realm.
heal
no.
things that happened in the past that are still causing problems today.
Huh,
But
that's new
she
to me, yeah.
started with a protocol called BioSet, which is primarily about reducing allergic reactions, and kind of treating many of the things that we don't think of as similar to the way the body reacts to an allergy, and it uses muscle testing, which is that applied kinesiology technique with the finger strength or the arm strength to reveal answers to some of the diagnostics. But she's started doing a new thing which people really, really have responded to very, very well. Something called emotion code and body code, which is kind of a newer technique, but it also, it can do so many things that it's mostly, I would say, for people who are getting frustrated with conventional medicine, and they've tried, especially like pain management and things like that. The solutions that conventional medicine has for certain things are just not that great. People have chronic problems; they don't really get well, and so that's mostly the kind of people that come to her, you know, with that type of history. They tried everything and it hasn't worked yet. So, but those techniques can also stay with me. In addition to helping people feel better, healthier, they can also do things like heal, like a possession, like an emotional or a demonic possession that's messing you up. And there's different ways of saying the same thing, but maybe obsession and possession, maybe it's like not that different. But if you can relieve the stress that your body is under, your body can start to heal a lot faster. So that's so she's been doing
there's
that.
something to be said for that. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's always been involved in that, right?
She always should support before she was
And
trying.
you've been there 15 years now. So how is your attitude toward nature and everything? And also, what's your attitude toward New York City? That's just 100 miles south of you and everything. And you used to be in New York City. I think you were trying to get out.
Well,
really,
no, it happened very suddenly. I really didn't think I was going to leave New York City, but Karen convinced me that.
I thought that Karen was really onto that then,
She convinced me it's going to be Y2K. We have to get out of the city before Y2K strikes. Wow. She'll say that wasn't it. It was just that, the city was making us sick. The environment was getting harder for us to, really enjoy life there.
Yeah.
And the money flow that I had experienced earlier was not as good as it was before. The cost of living was going through the roof. Now, living in Inwood was lovely.
Yeah.
Inwood is affordable and good, but it's probably a lot more expensive. Anyway, I know Y2K didn't destroy the world, but we ended up getting a nice house in this little town, and so I think it turned out for the best, because then not very long after that there was like 9/11. I lived across the street from the World Trade Center for about 10 years. I lived in Gateway Plaza, and Karen lived with me there for a while, maybe 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
And so that building that we lived in got pulverized. I mean, it's all back now.
Yeah.
One whole side of the building looked like it was like Afghanistan or something. Not as bad, worse than Afghanistan. Like Baghdad, the destruction of Baghdad.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, the nature up here is fabulous, and I feel very fortunate to be able to live in it. I'm like Yogi Bear. We're living in like a protected park. Park like Yellowstone or Yosemite or one of these other parks. We actually live in a park surrounded by it. If I go out my backyard and go like 500 feet into the woods, it's all state land, and it's like there is no factories up there. There's no pollution up there. The only pollution we get comes in the rain. Maybe mercury in the rain is bad, acid rain. But the soil here has somewhat of a resilient capacity in some ways.
How's the gardening going?
Garden is always different every year.
Really? Yeah.
Every year it's different, and one thing will grow great, and another thing will be, terrible. But but we're still, for practically as long as I've been up here, Karen and I have been involved in trying to bring restraint and sanity to some of the large-scale development projects that have been proposed in the area.
I was very happy to welcome you and some of your colleagues down here to talk about fracking. We did a program here with you about fracking about 10 years ago.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were ahead of the curve then.
About a lot of stuff. We also talked about the Bel Air Resort project.
Yeah.
A lot of people in New York City kind of know abstractly that the water comes from the Catskills.
Yeah.
But they don't connect the dots to realize that if the Catskills gets overdeveloped, the water supply is very much in peril.
So there's still a lot of towns around, and there's a lot of room. You'd recommend? Would you? In a certain, well, you're talking about yourself, and it's not fair. But for weary or sick of it all, kind of no, I mean people to think about retiring, going to the good old Mother Nature, and going back to upstate New York. Might think about following in your footsteps. You'd recommend it. And are you in touch well with the internet and all that, the world electronically or something, or do you feel isolated, or what about that? You don't feel like you're isolated, or you don't miss Times Square? They got very, very big signs in Times Square now about the latest Broadway hit with beautiful ladies and stuff. You know, all of that. You don't miss it?
When I go to New York City, which is not as often as I used to, it's usually for some specific thing, like somebody's having a big opening or a performance, or and it's always fun. It's always exciting. I find it very, very difficult physically, the assault on the smells and the noise and the crowding, congestion, and just the strange pheromones I'm picking up from all these millions of people. You know, there aren't that many people up here, but more and more people from Brooklyn, young 30-somethings from Brooklyn, even younger, are coming up here in greater and greater numbers. And sort of like a wave. It's like a wave. They're called Hicksters. Hicksters. And they were partly stimulated by a number of different things that came together. Like we have an opera festival, the Festival of the Voice in the summer. It's an enormously attractive thing. And we have the Shandaken Art Studio Tour, which I organize, which is also many people take. So anyway, good things are happening up here beyond what was the mainstay. Was basically going on an inner tube in the Esopus Creek.
That was always fun at Phoenicia. They had inner tubes down the creek. Yeah,
exactly.
I lived there for a while. You know, New Paltz for 3 years.
I know. She didn't go tubing in New Paltz. You have to do it in Phoenicia. Yeah. Anyway, so you know, and especially now with the sudden growth of Airbnb, there's now literally hundreds of places to stay right in this immediate local area. Everything from a luxury mansion in the woods to a room in somebody's house. We are doing Airbnb. People come and stay with us, and it's been wonderful. I mean, I feel like I've become like the old innkeeper. I really, really enjoy meeting these. People have been wonderful. The Airbnb system really allows you to feel comfortable that the people that are going to come into your house are not psycho lunatics.
That'd be good.
They have a good system. It's a good system, and so that's bringing a lot more people, not people with a lot of money, but more people.
All right, but you don't miss the hustle and bustle like when you used to do a lot of video production and do a lot of that. Are you still trying to do that, or link in, or could we link in?
Well, I did a few things.
You and I link in a little more regularly, maybe even from the house or something, via Skype?
Well, I was making a joke earlier.
Do you reach out to people via Skype much and everything, or are you becoming?
Let me tell you one thing, Harold.
Pardon?
Let me tell you. I mentioned that I've been involved in this kind of grassroots community organization to promote smart growth, restrained.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of things going on at Town Hall that displeased me, and I thought that people ought to know about it because decisions were being made that weren't really the best that I could see. So I started videotaping the town board meetings
at
and some of the other meetings
in the town, yeah.
Okay.
Shandaken.
And the developer whose dream it is to build this Golfzilla gigantic, golf ski resort on top of Bel Air Mountain, like 15 miles from here. He was like, well, I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
No,
but
you had a developer having eyes on the territory, right?
As a result of my videotaping, he got very nervous because he was seeing that I was putting it on the public access channel.
Where's the public access channel go from? Woodstock?
Well,
Or?
there was a head end in just south of Kingston where I could drive the tapes.
Uh-huh.
Actually, you know who helped me out a lot in the beginning? Paul Van Blarkum, who's now the sheriff of Ulster County. He's like the head of the entire police force of Ulster County.
Huh, okay.
Paul Van Blarkum. Well, he was on the town board, and he submitted the tapes to the Time Warner station when I had a little trouble getting respect.
Where does it outreach to, that station?
It reaches a huge footprint up and down the Hudson. Lots and lots of towns from, I think it goes all the way down to Poughkeepsie.
Wow, okay.
Big
Yeah.
footprint. Anyway, so
Yeah.
the developer, who shall remain nameless,
Yeah.
got nervous that I was putting this stuff on the air, so he hired somebody. So then after that, then there was two
Hired
cameras
somebody for what?
to make sure that if there was some of the people on the other side goofed up or said something that wasn't true, he could have it on tape. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just him being watched; we were being watched too. So he hired this other woman to start shoot from Woodstock to start videos. So then the room is getting full of cameras, and you know what happened as a result of it? I proposed that Shandaken should become a head end for the local public access
Good.
program.
Is it happening or what?
It happened.
Oh.
It became Shandaken Town Hall. You could bring your DVDs there, and they'll play them over the Shandaken.
And how
Yep.
much outreach does Shandaken have to what's the output?
It gets out there. It gets you know what happened?
So you're still in the business, pal.
Well,
you're still in global outreach
I'm
of
not doing that
video.
now. No, now I'm mostly focusing on the art, developing the art studio tour, I've been showing my sculptures, my large metal
I know, I
sculptures.
love your sculptures. Sorry we couldn't show them. You do these animal sculptures with metal and stuff. They're really
That's all right.
pretty
You got
and
an idea
beautiful.
from
They're
this one.
funny, yeah.
This gives you an idea. Here, let me show you. This is the head of the
Yes,
Statue of
right.
Liberty.
Okay, back to the
It's
head.
good. Back to the head.
Yeah.
Talk to the head.
Yeah.
Ah, bring me your paw.
So
your
you got a head end in
Yes, now there's a public access head end.
yeah.
And-
So
but
you still you're doing video. Are you working with video, or do you do it much or not, or what? You used to be really good producer and director and everything of the whole thing.
No,
you were on the
couple of
cutting
years.
edge, you know.
For a couple of years, I started doing wedding videos up here, and that was good. I really enjoyed doing that.
You did, okay, yeah.
But there wasn't that much call for it. A lot of people just really weren't getting videos made of their weddings. They were just getting photography.
Yeah, right.
So there wasn't as much call. And then every little guy in the audience has their cell phone up like this, taking pictures of every video of
Yeah,
everything.
everybody's got a television station packed in their back pocket these
It's
days.
fabulous.
It seems, you know, with
It's-
the thing.
You know, one of the things I did back in the old days when I was working with Randy Credico.
Yeah, Randy, yeah.
You see, I've done a lot of video things
We
with
only
Randy
got 20
Credico.
seconds left, pal, of the program
We're
that's
back.
going to air in New York. 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Wind it
Well,
up.
come to the Shandaken Art Studio Tour
Yeah.
and whole arts catalog. Pick up your whole arts catalog when you come to Shandaken in July.
Okay,
So-
let me just say, Dave Shank, it's so good to talk, to give love to Karen, and we all give our best love to you, Dave Channon, a pioneer of cable television in New York City, a buddy. It's so good to talk to you. Come and see us from time to time, and let's stay in touch on Skype, okay?
Peace and love, brother. Peace and love.
Keep doing that good stuff you be doing. Okay.
Live
Thank
long
you
and
very much.
prosper.
And in the audience viewing, we'll come back again tomorrow, and we thank Joseanne for putting this together. And it's so good to see you, brother. Really good to be in touch.
Let's do it again.
Okay. Over and out.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we can stop talking now. We can just go back to our own crummy selves, you know, and everything. We don't have to put on any airs or anything. I'm
That was
making a
me.
joke.
That's
You
just
were-
that's just
Yeah,
Mr.
it was
Dave.
very-
That's all.
It was straight.